Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Norma, and in this video I'm going to be talking about what it's like to be a CNA in a adult telemetry unit versus a pediatric unit. So let's get started. Here I have like some little notes and stuff that I wrote down so that I can kind of like stay on track, because I kind of get off track so easily. So about 2 years ago, I used to work in a telemetry unit as a CNA. So if you don't know what a CNA is, it stands for Certified Nurse's Assistant. You basically assist the nurse, you help take vitals, you do all that, you know, not so fun stuff, if you know what I mean. But I love being a CNA. That's kind of like what drew me to nursing, was actually having a CNA job and working in that environment. So I'm thankful that I get to be a CNA. So like I said, I used to work in a telemetry unit, which if you don't know what that is, it is a unit that focuses on cardio patients. Anything going on with the heart, they get put in that unit. And I lasted at that job for about 9 months, and I'm not even going to talk about why I left, because it was crazy there. So first I'm going to start with adults and kind of talk about like the negatives of working with adults, and then I'm going to talk about the positives. First of all, adults are clearly heavier than children or pediatric patients. So if you have like a bedbound patient, and if you have to be like helping them use the bedpan, or you know, whenever you have to change their sheets, it can get a little heavy trying to like maneuver a full-grown adult. That can also put like a lot of stress on your back, because you know, there are some pretty big adults, and whenever you have a really big adult and they can't get out of bed and you have to be like changing them or changing their sheets, it is pretty exhausting. And you know, when I was working in telemetry, sometimes there weren't even people around to help because we were all so busy. So a lot of the times I had to kind of maneuver these big patients on my own, and that was difficult. Adults are also a lot more difficult to restrain. So let's say if you have like a mentally unstable patient who's confused, and let's say they're having like some type of episode and they, you know, they want to fight, or they want to, you know, be violent in some way, it is a lot more difficult to try to restrain and calm down a full-grown adult, because I'm also a full-grown adult. It's one time where I had to take care of like a one-to-one patient, and this patient was insistent on getting up, and he was very like unstable, unsteady. He was a fall precautions patient, and there is nothing I could do. Like I could not just like push him on the bed. Like I had to, you know, there was nothing I could really do to restrain him, since he was an adult and he, you know, if he wants to get up, he can get up. It was just a lot more dangerous for him because he was super heavy. Like he was a heavy guy, and like he was like very unsteady when he would get up. And then this patient actually had a few moments where he had accidents on the floor, like BM all over the floor, watery, nasty BM, just all over the floor. It was a nightmare, to say the least. At least I would think with a smaller patient or like a pediatric patient, that situation would be a lot more easier to handle, instead of having this like full-grown tall man to try to restrain, and you really can't. And not restrain, like not like that, just, you know, trying to keep him safe in bed or sitting, you know. But he was just like very determined to just get up and fall the whole night, and he had accidents, so it just wasn't a good idea. So when you have adult patients, you are going to have adult BMs or adult urines that you have to change for, like patients who are incontinent and they just go on the bed. Those are like full-grown BMs that you have to change, and that is a duty of a CNA. I take a lot of pride in that, because that is like a vulnerable moment for them. So I'm never like the one to be like, ugh, or like I never make a face, even though sometimes you want to. But it's a lot more difficult to change a full-grown adult again, just because like if they have a diarrhea attack, it is massive, it's all over the bed, and it's just a lot more of like physical activity that you have to do by cleaning them, and it's just overall a lot more exhausting and tiring. Sometimes, like with these adult patients, it just, like if they are peeing, it just gets all over the bed, all over the sheets, like from the head to toe. Sometimes there have been moments, or even like when they have diarrhea attacks, it's like all the way down to the toes, and it can get very hard. Like being a CNA is a very, very rewarding job in my opinion, but you know, those moments are a little daunting. So adults, usually the older patients, like the geriatric patients, are a lot more prone to falls. And at hospitals, and I mean, I think anywhere, it's a pretty big deal to have a patient fall under your care. At hospital, they have like bed alarms, and there's like signs everywhere that say call, don't fall. But a lot of times patients don't listen, so they get up, and by the time you're there, you're trying to catch them, you're falling with them, because again, full-grown adult. Especially even sometimes, like as a female, I'm not a very small female, I'm pretty tall and I'm pretty like hefty and strong, but it would make a big difference if you were to have like, if I were like a 6 foot tall guy, then maybe it would be a lot more easy to handle these adult patients whenever they're going to fall or they are unsteady, or just in general. It does get hard. It gets really hard to try to hold these patients if they're falling. So this can be like a pro and a con of working with adults, but adults tend to talk a lot, especially if they are like older. They just need somebody to talk to, which is great. I'm all for talking, I'm all for venting feelings. I'm a Pisces, so I'm all about that life. It is hard when, let's say, you are crunched for time and you have other tasks you have to complete, or you are in the middle of vitals and you need to just get those vitals in. It is hard when you have a patient that just keeps talking and talking and talking. But that's a skill that you're gonna learn, is how to kind of cut that conversation when you need to and just end it very nicely and respectfully. Coffee break. So now the pros about working with adults. Adults are a lot more understanding. So like, let's say I want to just check their blood pressure, they understand what you're doing, as opposed to kids. A lot of times they are scared. Anything you do, don't touch me. But adults are a lot more understanding, and like for example in the nurse's case, whenever they need to start an IV, or you know, if the phlebotomist needs to get blood from the adults, they're a lot more understanding because they know the drill, they know what's going on and what the purpose of everything is. Adults are also a lot more friendlier. Sometimes there are many friendly kids, but adults just tend to be friendlier if they're in a good mood, si andan de buenas, you know, and they're a lot more appreciative of, you know, the work that we do. Especially as a CNA in my hospital, it's like a primarily Latino, Hispanic based community that we have going on here. So, you know, a lot of the times these patients are very, very appreciative. They tell you all these nice things, they tell you that you are like, you're sent from God, like just the nicest things that just kind of make you understand that everything you do is affecting somebody's life positively. And like, we should all kind of carry that reminder with us, but it's really great to hear it from somebody and have them let you know that you are making a difference in their life. So, PD patients. And I just want to say that I love kids and I love pediatrics, and I really, really feel like this is where I'm meant to be, is taking care of kids. So some of the things I might say are a little biased, but I'm trying to kind of keep an open opinion about this. First and foremost, kids will scream for everything. Not all of the kids, we have some brave little soldiers there, but most of the kids, once they're old enough to understand what's going on, which is usually like 2 years old and up, they will scream anytime you walk in the room, even if you're just like gonna take out the trash or, you know, clean up, they're gonna cry because they're scared. And don't even get me started on like when they have to start IVs on the kids, they are screaming most of the time, and they're helping hold the patient down, sustain their arms, because these kids are scared. And totally like, I used to be a screaming kid, so I feel young. But 100%, if you walk into a pediatric unit, you will be hearing screaming. And I just kind of learned to tune it out already. It's not, you know, it's not ringing in my ears. It literally just sounds like background noise at this point. So for me, it's not a big deal. You kind of just get over it. With that being said, sorry. But with that being said, it can be very sad to see these little tiny patients suffering, these little kids suffering. It is really, really hard. Say you're helping the nurse with the IV, like holding the patient, seeing their complete sheer terror is so sad. Like if you really get in that mindset, in that zone of like your compassionate side comes out, it can be draining emotionally because you feel bad for these kids. But you kind of have to learn to develop a thick skin, especially if you're working with kids. If not, like every day is just going to be a sad, sad day for you. But I would say that that's like one of the biggest negatives of working with kids, is that it can get very sad. And I even had like one of my friends who's a nurse tell me that the first time she went to like a pediatric code, the patient ended up dying, and she said that forever the mom's scream is engraved in her mind, and that just sucks. Like, I've never really experienced something like that, and I feel like the day that I do, it's just gonna be the worst day of my life. So that's the price you pay for working with cute little humans. So PD patients, as you all would probably assume, they wet the bed a lot. But that's not to say that there aren't some adults who wet the bed a lot too, because it kind of like is the same. But kids are a lot more prone to wet the bed because, you know, they have an accident. Very, very common. But it is a lot easier to clean up the kid, change them, because there is less surface area. Changing the sheets is about the same. They're the same size beds, unless it's like a crib. Those are a little smaller, so it's, you know, you work around it. Another negative about working with kids is that sometimes you can't really explain things to them because they're screaming over you, and you can't even talk to explain to them what's going on. Been times where I'm offering them like a surprise after, like I'm gonna give them a sticker or something, and they don't care. They scream and drown my voice out, so that's kind of annoying sometimes. Another break. Okay, so the pros about working with PD patients. Number one, they're cute. Need I say more? They're just so cute, and you get to work with like little equipment sometimes, like little gowns, little blood pressure cuffs, little wheelchairs. Oh my god, I will never get over those little wheelchairs. Another super awesome thing about working with kids is getting to see the joy and happiness of when they are finally getting discharged. In comparison to that happiness, getting to wheel them out and them being so happy to be gone. Most of them, they wave to everybody, say bye, see you later, never coming back. And it's the best thing. Like, my favorite thing to do is whenever they get off the wheelchair to go into their car, I always tell them high five Anthony, high five America. Like, I tell them their names, and then they're like all happy, and this is the first time I see them smile like throughout their whole stay. Also, PD patients are a lot easier to bathe. Again, less surface area to work with here, so they are a lot smaller, they are a lot easier to maneuver, a lot easier to like turn them on the bed if you have to, if they can't get out of bed. Generally a lot easier. Like, if they have to use the bedpan, it's a lot easier if they are smaller. That also means you are a lot less prone to getting hurt, or, you know, getting some type of back pain, back issue at the end of the day. Because for me, honestly, the only thing that hurts me at the end of the day are my legs. But I've been using compression socks, so that's working pretty good, pretty rad. As opposed to when I worked in telemetry, I always had back pain, and I tried my best with my body mechanics, but sometimes, you know, you just gotta get your tasks done, and in that process you can really hurt yourself. So that is one big thing to keep in mind with adults versus kids, is with adults you truly will feel that job in your back. With PD, it's more like my legs hurt because I'm up and down all day, but the same applied to adults. Like, my legs would hurt too. It was just my legs and my back. But overall, I can honestly say I love working in both. There have been times where at my current job I am sent to an adult unit and I love it. Like it's just like, you know, a different environment, and it's really good to be able to keep up with, you know, communicating with adults, because that is way different than communicating with a kid. I don't mind working in adult units. It's like not the end of the world whenever I do get sent to an adult unit. But I just really have a soft spot for pediatrics. I love it. It is something that brings me so much joy. I'm always so happy to be able to work with kids, just because I love being around them. I love being able to talk to them and laugh with them and just, you know, make their day. Even though that they are a lot less appreciative than adults are, you just carry that like constant reminder of you are making a difference in this little kid's life. And just even being able to see their progression from like when they first got admitted to the day they get discharged, seeing them so much healthier, so much better, it just makes it all worth it. So yeah, if you watched this whole thing, thank you. And if you have any questions about being a CNA or what it entails or anything really, ask me below. And I'm starting nursing school next month, so I'm so excited for that, and I'm going to keep you guys updated with all the stuff that's going to be going on. Bye guys, thank you for watching. See you later in another video. Okay, bye.